Okay, let me go to this chickadee. Now, this is an example of a woman who is not funny, and I'm sorry, ladies. Ladies, I love you. I mean, I literally love you. But this woman is not helping the cause that women are funny. Now, every time I say that, I have to mention the extremely hilarious women on Saturday Night Live, and there's so many of them, more than there's ever been in the history of that show, which has been around for 40 years. So, um, but this woman, no, no. I mean, you tell me. This video is a minute 33. You tell me if you laugh at any point in this video. Be honest. Okay? Just give her a shot. You ready?
Congratulations, white people! Apparently there's nothing we can't do! The Bundy brothers and a group of anti-government protesters were acquitted on conspiracy charges related to an armed takeover and occupation of federal land that lasted a terrifying 6 full weeks. It's like white people are Luke Cage and the justice system is bullets. Any consequence is just bing, 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 bounce.
Oh, Lord. Now, Luke Cage is a good show. I've just watched the first season. But the fact that she would bring that up, I mean, it's so obvious that she's trying to shame us and be like, hey, black people don't get it like this. Every time. There's never been a person, never a black person has gotten away with a crime. Now, that is so crazy to suggest. Black people get away with crimes all the time. And the stats on the percentage of them that get away with crimes in cities like Chicago and Detroit, Atlanta, places, it's like over 90%. Crimes, they go unsolved. These dudes get off. And I could think of a couple cases where black dudes got off having gone to court. O.J. Simpson. But like to extrapolate that into some just general thing where like, yeah, white people are just impenetrable. It's like bullets flicking off of them. Just no. It's just such a straight up no. And it's so like they try to make it seem so lighthearted and it's like, oh, it's just an obvious fact. Look, I have this bias. I have this theory. And you want some proof for it? Well, look, here's a white person that didn't serve hard time. Brock Turner. You know, Brock Turner, he was a swimmer for Stanford, and he raped a girl, but then he got off with a light sentence. So that's white privilege, right? Oh, are you going to follow up that story with some stats about all the white people that have gone to jail for rape? Wouldn't that just balance it out a little bit? Wouldn't it give you a little bit more credibility? Or would it just blow up your whole argument? So if you said Brock Turner raped a girl, got let off, are you going to mention that he wasn't even being accused for rape? So it had been pleaded down to sexual assault. That's the first thing you have to understand about first-time offenders and about that's just the way that fucking shit works. What you get initially charged with, that shit always, often gets pled down to for a lesser crime. I mean, that's not a white-black thing. That's just how it works. And so for sexual assault, first-time offender, what are you expecting the prison sentence to be? So you have that aspect. But if after you mention, oh, Brock Turner, white guy, gets let off, but also in the year 2015, 500,000 white dudes were arrested for rape. Who knows what the number is, but it's going to be some huge number. They were arrested and sent to jail for rape. Okay, now what? What is the case you're making now? That in those cases, it just wasn't non-racist involved, and this case, I mean, it just boggles the mind. A second of pushback, and these arguments fall. They just fail miserably. Now watch, she's still trying to be funny here. Watch this.
Right off. Apparently, the jury was convinced it wasn't premeditated, just a harmless, spontaneous insurrection informed by religious belief.
First of all, premeditated, that's not what the charge was. And she's using premeditated as if it's premeditated murder. There is no murder here. Okay, the charge was a conspiracy. And you don't charge somebody with just conspiracy. It's a conspiracy to do what? It was a conspiracy to impede federal workers from working at one of their locations. And this is a minor location with a very small staff. It's totally insignificant. It's in the middle of nowhere. So it wasn't a big deal. And that was what people said. Any rational person could have seen this from a mile away and said this is not a big deal. But it was made into a big deal by the media who wanted this to be a white terror situation. They wanted it to be. Like right now she's talking about religious belief. You saw the video. I just played it for you. Was he talking about religious this or that? No, he's talking about grievances hey, there's a petition. We tried the legal channels, but nobody wants to hear us. This is about ranching and brush fires and grazing rights and constitutional disagreements. This has nothing to do with religious lunacy. These are not fundamentalist Christian psychopaths. These dudes have not hurt anybody. Damn it.
Because America's all about protecting your rights to take over government land by waving.
Yeah, it is about protecting your rights. And it actually is about what it means to be an American and what rights the feds have and what rights the landowners have. That's what it actually is about. But she's trying to play it off like, oh, yeah, right, because it's about that. Oh, sure. These fucking right-wing militia dudes had no case. They just screw them. That's how she's trying to play this. And look at the tits on this woman. You know, she could try to distract me with this pattern. This is the same technique that zebras use. So a zebra will give you a pattern it's a visual distraction, and you can't really make out the shapes. And oh my God, which is the small, weak zebra? How can I tell? Which tit should I try to, kill and take down for lunch? I don't know.
Your gun around. If God tells you to do it, the right God.
Oh, stupid. So stupid. And they put up a white God. Like, right, so not only are these guys religious lunatics, which they're not. I mean, yeah, they're Christian. But they're no more of a lunatic than any other Christian. This is not like, fire and brimstone guys. These guys were like constitutional geeks. We're dealing with a ranching issue. And yeah, not only are they religious, they're racist religious because it's a white Jesus. Yeah, great. Just speculation just gone wild here. Try to make me laugh. Go.
PC types are trying to point out that the verdict might have been different if the Bundy brothers were Muslim or black. And, maybe they wouldn't even made it to trial because police would have shot them the moment they tried to pull anything even remotely resembling this shit.
It's so stupid. Actually, pull anything remotely resembling this shit? No, usually what they're pulling is a gun. Or what they're not doing is pulling their punches when they're striking an officer. So yeah, so when you have an unarmed guy punching somebody. It's just a ridiculous statement. I mean, look, if it was Muslim ranchers with a constitutional issue and had nothing to do with, it's so stupid to try to suggest that anytime a Muslim takes over a building or has a confrontation with the authorities, that it's over anything remotely like this. No, it is 99 times out of 100 going to be something to do with the religion of Islam explicitly. And their intentions are going to be violent. Whereas these guys' intentions were completely peaceful. So, and they say, yeah, but what about the guns? Everybody who owns a gun, they have the gun for a reason. If shit goes off and somebody is trying to kill them, they might fire back. That's what gun owners are going to tell you. But it's not their intention to start shit. Now, if people can't see that, then we have no chance at progressing the conversation. And blacks? I mean, what the fuck? It's so ridiculous. I mean, first of all, those dudes, apparently, like, one of them was half Asian, the other one was half Native American. Of course, that's not going to get mentioned here because it's such an insane concept to think that the race had anything to do with this. It didn't. They were speculating and creating a fantastical situation where, hey, if you took the exact same scenario and just put blacks in there, exactly the same details, though, they'd just be shot. And that's a straight up lie. That is a fantasy that you have made.
And to that, I say, yeah. Yeah, probably. That's probably true. But anyway, congrats to the court of setting this precedent.
See, I mean, this is just delusion on their part. And her line reading on that was obnoxious beyond belief. I mean, this woman is just so desperate to try to bring something to the table, and it's just, oh, fucking hell. I don't think that highly of myself, but when I see people get paid to try to make people laugh like this, and I know for a fact that I make people laugh in a friggin' vacuum. So in my living room, talking out to the ether, all I'm hearing is me talking to my computer. I know people are laughing out there. I've made a lot of videos, and it just makes me feel like, Jesus Christ, is it that hard? Why is it so easy for me and hard for them? I don't get it.
Which is going to apply.
I think it's about intelligence. Not to toot my own horn here, but funny people are smart people. You will never find a dumb funny person. Very rare. Oftentimes, you'll take a comedian, you will pry a little bit into the person's life. Turns out they're a friggin' genius. They have a lot to say on a lot of issues. Bill Maher, perfect example. and just go down the board. I mean, you don't think Steve Martin is going to be a bright dude? Yeah, it's there's got to be a correlation between those two things.
To white people on government property, but not Native Americans on their own private property.
Bring up the Native Americans, right? Police evict oil pipeline protesters from private land. Okay, well, wait, whose land is it? If the pipeline has the rights to the land, then it's got to be theirs. Private land. I mean, Jesus Christ. See, all this is a tie-in to the historical problem of, oh, the whole country is Indian land, and oh my God, it just never stops, the poor Indians. It's just absurd. It's totally absurd. And I'm sure we're never going to hear the end of it. I'm so bored. I would never even look at a story. Like if CNN had a video on the pipeline situation, I wouldn't even watch it. I was just so disinterested in that.
Trying not to have their water source poisoned. Well, now if you excuse me, I'm on my way to Old Faithful just to start some. That geyser's mine now.
Right. And so, right, they're intentionally poisoning Native Americans. Is that what I'm to believe? And who's doing it? The feds? Perfect example. And just go down the board. I mean, you don't think Steve Martin is going to be a bright dude? Yeah, it's there's got to be a correlation between those two things.
To white people on government property, but not Native Americans on their own private property.
Bring up the Native Americans, right? Police evict oil pipeline protesters from private land. Okay, well, wait, whose land is it? If the pipeline has the rights to the land, then it's got to be theirs. Private land. I mean, Jesus Christ. See, all this is a tie-in to the historical problem of, oh, the whole country is Indian land, and oh my God, it just never stops, the poor Indians. It's just absurd. It's totally absurd. And I'm sure we're never going to hear the end of it. I'm so bored. I would never even look at a story. Like if CNN had a video on the pipeline situation, I wouldn't even watch it. I was just so disinterested in that.
Trying not to have their water source poisoned. Well, now if you excuse me, I'm on my way to Old Faithful just to start some. That geyser's mine now.
Right. And so, perfect example. And just go down the board. I mean, you don't think Steve Martin is going to be a bright dude? Yeah, it's there's got to be a correlation between those two things.
To white people on government property, but not Native Americans on their own private property.
Bring up the Native Americans, right? Police evict oil pipeline protesters from private land. Okay, well, wait, whose land is it? If the pipeline has the rights to the land, then it's got to be theirs. Private land. I mean, Jesus Christ. See, all this is a tie-in to the historical problem of, oh, the whole country is Indian land, and oh my God, it just never stops, the poor Indians. It's just absurd. It's totally absurd. And I'm sure we're never going to hear the end of it. I'm so bored. I would never even look at a story. Like if CNN had a video on the pipeline situation, I wouldn't even watch it. I was just so disinterested in that.
Trying not to have their water source poisoned. Well, now if you excuse me, I'm on my way to Old Faithful just to start some. That geyser's mine now.
Right. And so, right, they're intentionally poisoning Native Americans. Is that what I'm to believe? And who's doing it? The feds? Are they the ones involved? Or who votes for them? Native Americans. I mean, how they try to twist everything into a race issue, that is seriously problematic. Fuck this channel. Dumb. Anyway, that's a little bit of commentary for you. What time is it? 2:46. Well, it's pretty late. I'm probably going to call it quits. I hope I have provided some entertainment. Don't know what the hell's happening in the chat. You guys have your own little cliques and high school shenanigans and drama, and I don't know what is happening in there.